So good afternoon. My name is Kat Rendick, and I'm project coordinator with the city's planning, development and recreation departments. So, lots of different activities. And one of my most exciting projects, I would argue, is the pop-up shops. So I'm really thrilled to have been invited today to explain a little bit more about the pop-up shops and how to go through our online booking system. It is newer to the corporation. So if you've done any bookings for swim times or rental bookings, things like that, it's the same system. It's going to be really familiar to you. If not, we're going to walk through it today and it's going to be a piece of cake. So I want to just quickly jump over to my slides, but before I do that, again, there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end when you can turn on your mic and your camera. If you have questions throughout as we go, you're welcome to throw those in the chat, and I will sort of pause at every slide to just make sure that we're all on the same page and I'm here for you. And yes, and so we are recording. So if you need to rewatch this later, we're going to be there for you as well, and the slides can be sent to you if that's helpful. So really here to help, really hopefully sort of conversational as to what pop-up shops are all about. So without further ado, let me share my screen and then we'll get started. All right, perfect. So I'm just hoping you can see my slides here. Shauna, maybe give me a little thumbs up that we're good to go.
All good.
All right. As I said, we've got the pop-up shops here within the city. So this is a little bit of a slide run through just of what to expect before we get into some of the nitty-gritty of how to book them online. So first and foremost, what's a pop-up shop? So 3 years ago, we were at the start of the pandemic and we were looking for a way to provide outdoor exhibit or retail space for our small businesses, non-for-profits, community groups. And so we established what we call our Cornwall pop-up shop program. So essentially it is a small sort of 10 by 8 shipping container with a garage door that opens up. They're at the corner of Pitt Street and First Street. So you'll see them there in the little, what we call the pop-up parkette. They're short-term rentals. So we really only permit you to book 1 to 3 days. So you can book a minimum of 1 day, which is a 10 to 7 is your day in the pop-up shop, but you can book 3 days consecutively. So if you really want to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, our system is going to permit you to do that. Not a problem. We really don't want them, however, to be monopolized throughout the season by 1 or 2 businesses. So we do limit your availability to book each container every 2 weeks. So it's sort of like a clock that resets. You can book one of our pop-ups for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then you can't book that same container for another 2 weeks. You have to shift and try to find another container that's available. So it's just a way for us to control a little bit of the rotation throughout the containers, giving everyone a chance to come in and use them. And also just to keep the downtown a little bit vibrant. It's a surprise, there's new vendors or exhibitors all the time. And so that's really why that's there. We do get some questions every once in a while as to why that stipulation is there. So I hope that explains it. If not, let me know in the questions. I'll try to answer it again. So the other thing with the pop-ups that's really special is it's really like a room rental or that you would have anywhere else in the city, maybe at the Benson Center, where you get your tables, you get chairs. Because we're outside, we've also equipped you with a patio umbrella and the base for that. We've got outdoor rugs this year, which I'm sort of excited to add because they've been used now. We don't have any lawn left. So we've got some outdoor rugs to make that cushiony and comfortable under your feet. Keeping in mind some of our COVID precautionary elements, we are going to keep the plexiglass barrier and some sanitation cleaning materials in there for you. That's really for you to use as you want. You're welcome as a renter to bring whatever additional pieces that you might want to add that make you feel comfortable and make you feel safe. The other thing that's really exciting with the pop-ups is that they really are available every single day of the week. And so if you wanted to jump in there on a Monday, there's going to be an opportunity for you to do that. Thursday, opportunity for you to do that. We really wanted to make this accessible and easy and sort of user-friendly as possible. So the program is available to you really whenever you need it. We do have stipulated hours, I will say, from 10 to 7, so 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The reason for that is mostly with just with light, darkness, foot traffic, things like that. If you do need it in the evening for whatever it might be, and you're going to bring lights and make it really attractive, I would say talk to one of our coordinating staff. The details are at the end of the slides, and we can definitely work that out with you. There's opportunity to kind of work around those hours if desired. We are excited to say that this Wednesday is the first day you can book your pop-up. So if you're really trying to get in there before the long weekend, you can start this week. And after this presentation, you can jump online and book yourself. Okay, so moving on. We get a lot of questions about who's eligible for the pop-up shops. And really we're talking small businesses, small realtors, artisans, artists, or non-for-profits. And we've had lots of different people imagine these pop-ups in different ways because they are sort of blank canvas inspired. So as you can see in this picture here, we actually had a photographer come one day and do a pop-up photo shoot. So she charged for the photo shoot and had pre-arranged people to come in and be seated in the pop-ups, organized it beautifully, and it was a way for her clients to feel more comfortable in the photo shoot because they were outside and but still somewhat contained and away from the elements. As you can see, they have a baby, so it really worked well for her and her clients. So the kind of the imagination can come to play here, and there's really no limits except in our small non-eligible list. So we can't have commercial beauty products. We can't have food and beverage producers. We can't have someone renting it kind of as a garage sale. So it's a garage sale versus if you actually have an established antique business or collector's business, that would make you a small retailer. But if you're really just doing it as a resident, we're not going to permit that. And then finally, any personal care services. So we have, you might imagine, people ask about, can they come and do massage therapy or haircuts or things like that in the park? So we're really not permitting that either. And the reason that we have this list is actually because we rent this land from the Cornwall Square, and the Cornwall Square agreement that we have with them is non-compete. So we can't compete with other businesses that are in the mall. And therefore, the list there all are kind of represented in the mall already. And so we're trying to work in collaboration with the mall and not in competition. So if you, I hope that's pretty self-explanatory, but if you're not sure, if you have a business that maybe we've never worked with before, and this happens, it continues to happen, I will say, please contact us, double check your eligibility before going through the online booking. We're happy to help and explain and consider your unique situation. And for the most part, we really do try to make it work. This really is meant for everyone, and we hope that we can have you included. I see a few more people joining on, so that's great. If I need to go back, I can. So the nitty-gritties of this, so as you know, it's a rental service. So I wanted to kind of walk you through how we've got these priced out and who it's for. So there's two different options for a renter to consider. One is if you have your own insurance, and one is if you do not have your own insurance. And so many small businesses, not-for-profits will have their own insurance, which is great. And if so, we have a discounted rate for you of $20 plus tax per day. So that would be, multiplied for however many days you're booking at a time. And then that's there. We will require you to, however, show proof of that insurance, a $2 million liability, and that the City of Cornwall is listed as additionally insured. So there's a few details there on the slide, but it's also online and within the booking system. And one of our staff, after you place the booking, will follow up with you to make sure that we have all that in place. If you're not able to show that proof of insurance, what they'll do is they'll just charge you the additional price that allows you to come under the city's corporate insurance policy. So that is available to anyone without insurance. It's a slightly higher price at $35 plus HST per day. And the reason for that is it's sort of like you're just taking a small piece of our insurance policy, you're renting it, borrowing it for the day, and that we are hoping allows really anyone and everyone to come in and use the pop-ups and not have to go through an entire process of getting their own insurance. So that is a really easy process. Essentially, one of our staff goes through and will use all the information you use in your booking process to confirm your third-party insurance certificate. You'll be provided that in advance, and then you can have it on site in case anything happens. And really, again, that will cover you to $2 million liability. So if something happens, and things happen, you're going to be covered there as part of that per day fee. We can come back to that if there's any further questions on that, and there are details online. The kind of thing with the pop-ups is because they are sought after, and it is a little bit weather dependent, it's outside, we have had a lot of people looking to sort of swap days depending on the weather or whatever it might be. And we try to accommodate if we can, but depending on the bookings, and we'll swap you out. Depending on bookings, we can't guarantee anything. But what I can say is that we don't offer refunds. So we will try our best to reschedule you if we can, but we can't offer the refund. So if you're thinking of kind of booking throughout the summer, it might be worth putting pause on that and until you're really sure what days you're available, things like that. I leave that to you as renters to figure out what's best for you. The other question that we get around the cost, and this is especially from vendors or exhibitors who have participated in other artisan events, is that you are not required to pay the vendor permit fee that we have as part of our special events fee or small business fee. It's actually kind of all encompassed into the pop-up booking fees. So there's no need for any additional permits, whatever. You're really just, you go through this one online system and we take care of the rest. So it should be really easy for you. But if it's not, or you're having issues or you have more questions, obviously we are very happy to help you, and we would love to get to know more about you and your business and what you're trying to achieve. Finally, and as a little pop-up here, so as I mentioned in the last slide, you're going to have tables, you're going to have chairs, all of that. If you find that you need a little extra shade, we do have people who come with some more delicate items and they want to make sure that it's shaded, things like that. You're welcome to bring an additional 10 by 10 pop-up tent, which you would put in front of the pop-up entrance. Really not permitted to put them to either side or kind of at the back or across the laneway. It really has to be directly in front of the entranceway. And that's to sort of maintain our own insurance around the space and within our agreement with the square. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have custom tables, you can see here we have Mike Centric. They have sort of a custom display booth that has the umbrella, that has sort of, a slightly different display. You're obviously very welcome to bring that. There's no requirement to use our tables. Please bring whatever makes your pop-up unique and special and the best representation of you. If you need more chairs or more tables, we may be able to accommodate you, but there's no guarantee. So if you need anything like that to kind of build out your booth, I would encourage you to first book your booth, and then in the notes, note that you would like an additional table, something like that, and our coordinator Janice will try to accommodate and get those resources for you. Okay, so hopefully that clears up the nitty-gritties. And with that, I'd love to turn it over to our online booking system. So this is kind of, we moved everything online last year. For the most part, it was pretty self-explanatory and easy, but I know some people struggled with it or they got a little lost in the shuffle. So I'm walking us through here today. Before I do that, I think it might be helpful to just pause for a second and make sure that no one in our chat, if you have any questions in the chat, and maybe Shauna, you can jump in if there's anything there. I don't want to lose anyone as we're moving too fast. Good. All right. So all the information that I've just summarized, but also how you book is all online. So super easy. You're basically number one is you're gonna go to the city website, and I'll take you there in a second. And then there's a little bar, you're gonna click book online, and it's gonna take you into our online portal system, which used to be called Perfect Mind. And is now called Explore Recreation. It just transitioned over. So I will say there's a little bit, if you've been trying to book and having some issues, there's definitely been a little bit of a transition in the last 2 weeks, but it's sorting itself out. So you will see a branding change probably in the next few weeks if you're booking. And then here's the sort of step-by-step. But what I'm going to do is actually do this as a demo. So I really just put these slides here to remind you as a prompt after the workshop. So I'm going to stop my share for a second, and then we're going to click into the website. Perfect. Okay, excellent. So I'm hoping that now you're able to see, this is the City of Cornwall website. Let's move this over here so I can see it at the same time. So what I always do to find out the pop-ups, and this is like my general trick for the city website, just this little thing, is literally type in pop-ups into the search. It will always be the first one coming up. It's such a popular and tagged page that you're always going to find it. So this is the page, you know, you're in the right spot. This is most of what I've just outlined here. If you're looking for a bit of a refresher, if you're interested in the artwork, you're going to find it here. And if you're not familiar, we did have them painted a few years ago by a number of local artists. So we're really proud of them. And so if you booked your pop-up and you want to know who painted your new little rental home, you can find out a little bit more information there. So this is the sort of landing page. You're going to go to the blue button here, and it's going to immediately take you into our Perfect Mind. So you know you're in the right space when it says Perfect Mind, City of Cornwall. This is where we want to be. This is the landing page for any facility rental with the city. So if you're looking to rent a ball diamond or a tennis court or a sports field, whatever it might be, a Benson Center room, you are going to be using this portal more and more. As we add to it, you're going to see them coming up. So hopefully this helps you with any future bookings, not just the pop-ups. You will see the pop-up program here listed. You want to click through, and now you know you're on the right page. So just double checking here. Okay, so the pop-ups are here. You can filter depending on what if there's a certain time frame that you're looking for.
Kat, I'm only seeing the main page.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me see if I can try this again.
It's a great picture, but just I don't think that's what
It's a great picture. I can't find my little toggles here for Zoom. Give me a second. Here we go. Try this one again. Ooh. Promise I've got this going. Here we go. One too many things open. How are we there? Are you in the
Perfect.
Screen? Okay, excellent. So as you can see on the left side, you can do a filter. I find sometimes, unless you really know when you want to go, it's better to kind of look into the facilities themselves by clicking this blue choose button. So this is just confirming that you want and you're interested in the pop-up shops. So this is the pop-up shop Parkette. One thing I want to note here, and just unfortunately it wasn't changed in advance of this workshop, is that we have removed this pop-up number 4 option. So really all you can book now is 1, 2, 3. So they're listed here 1, 2, 3, and you'll see that in the booking. I know that there has been some interest in pop-up 4. We actually decided this year to use it in a different location of the city, and based on demand last year, we thought we could manage with 3 pop-ups. So you will, as you scroll down below, notice that there's only 3 here that you can book. If there's one in particular that you really love, or you want to be closer to Pitt Street, or maybe you want to be closer to the square, you're going to be able to identify them here at the bottom based on their name and location. So say we wanted to book this one here. So this is pop number 1. It's called Kizis, which is the Algonquin word for sun, named by the artist Tracy Lynn Davies. So say you want to book number 1, you're going to select the blue choose button, and it's going to bring you into the pop-up shop number 1 booking page. So this will look similar for all of the pop-ups. We're just going to run through the one today. As you can see, it kind of gives you a little bit of a briefing about what you're booking. this here, we're just interested if you're kind of 1 or 10 people. Some of our non-for-profits or special events will have a lot of people. So it just helps us understand and manage the number of people using the space. So you'll want to fill this out. Say it's just 2 people. So we'll put that in there. And then here's where you're going to see the availability of that unit. So at this time, because this is starting to be available on the 18th, so it's currently available the rest of this week. You can scroll through as a menu. It's already been booked on Saturday the 28th, so you're going to see that it's no longer a blue button there. And kind of all through the summer, you can scroll through. So if you're worried about not getting Kizis, you can see currently there's lots and lots to book, not a problem. So Fridays look to be very popular days. So hypothetically, let's say that we want to book one for here, the 22nd of June. So I'm going to click in, it's going to go green. Maybe I also want the Thursday. So I'm going to click both days. Reserve, and then it'll want me to do it again. Sorry. Okay, but now I've come up to a bit of an issue. So this is the only thing with Perfect Mind, is that you do need to have a personalized account to log in. So it's like any other online account that you have, you're going to need to create an account. If I already have one with the city, so I would, it's automatically generating here. If you don't have one with the city, you've never booked, you're going to go sign up. It is a very easy little form. It's going to create your account immediately, and then you're going to be able to continue and finish booking that pop-up that you started. So really easy and kind of flips user-friendly to make it as fast and convenient as possible. So I'm just going to go back here for a sec. I'm going to click my date. I'll just randomly click a date, and then it's going to jump into my profile. So the one thing to know, I suppose, further to this is that you can only get so far without creating an account. So it is really convenient in the fact that it will let you at least see the availability. It will let you see what is included and the prices and the times, the general location, all of that. But once you want to book through and actually see any further information, you will need to create an account. So hopefully that doesn't pose a barrier. If you're not comfortable creating an online account, if it's really something that you're trying to avoid, in this day and age, it's definitely challenging, but we can accommodate you. So what I would suggest that you do instead is call Janice Robinson. Her contact's at the end of this and is at the end of the slides, but also on the website, and she can create it and do your booking from the back end. It's not as user-friendly in the sense that you can't personally go in and cancel things or reschedule or things like that, but she can walk you through and manage the booking on the back end to make that easy, so that you don't need to create an account. So I just want to put that out there for those who may be a little concerned about that setup. Okay, so hypothetically, I'm reserving this date. I'm going to log in to my profile. And now we see this is my back end, but this is essentially the back end that anyone would see. So now it's the very same to sort of shopping online or whatever it might be. I'm selecting that it's myself. I clearly book on behalf of Transition Cornwall, so that's the details in here. So hypothetically, I'm booking that again. You'll fill it in. Actually, if I just want to jump back here to the questionnaire. So what is important here is that we do require some clarification as to what you're selling, and that is so that our staff can assess whether or not you've met those eligibility criteria, or if what you're selling goes beyond what's eligible and kind of starts to conflict with our agreement with the Square. So it is important that you answer these honestly. We really do appreciate that. And if we do have any questions, we will contact you to double check or look for more clarification. So this is also the space, if I can just pause here for another second, is that do you carry insurance policies for your business? So it's the fourth question down. This is where it will, depending on what you say, yes or no, it'll switch the price for your booking. So if your book up, it's your pop-up. Anyway, you're booking your pop-up. So if you have insurance, it's going to give you the lower price. If you don't, it will give you the higher price. And so it is important to also answer that question honestly, because it will help us not only charge you properly, but follow up based on insurance. All right, perfect. So we'll move forward. We've answered all the questions. we're going to go into the fees. So this is where I have insurance. So for example, so I'm going to click this one. That's going to be the fee. If I didn't have insurance and I needed to fall under the city's policy for my booking, I would click the second option. So here you have your total. It will eventually have tax as we go to the next page. Just looking at a, oh, sorry, I'm just seeing a question here. I'm going to pause momentarily. So just to answer, the fourth one has been moved to be used in Gano Park by a small business that's renting fat bikes and various outdoor equipment. So it is not available to rent as part of the pop-up program. Instead, we're going, the lawn is being turned back to lawn. We're putting more picnic tables out, and we're hoping it just adds a little bit more space for people to sit and use the space. We don't expect to bring the fourth one back at this point in time. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay, so we're going through the process yet again. We're just reviewing the booking here. If you kind of get to a point and you wanted to book more dates or whatever it might be, you can go in, modify your booking, you can add dates, things like that. That's going to be part of this page, this review page. So say I wanted to also book a different pop-up in a totally different month, I would go here to the plus sign and go add a reservation. That's going to take me back all the way back to the beginning. You can do pop-ups and you can kind of go from there. So let's just say I wanted to do this again. And I want to maybe take the third one. A totally different date, reserve that. And so you can see the process is very, like once you start, it's pretty quick. And I find if you're a business or a not-for-profit, it does all sort of preload everything. It kind of anticipates that you're doing the same thing. If you have more than one business or you're there for different reasons, you will need to fill out those fields yet again. But otherwise, it is pretty quick and user-friendly. Perfect. So then, hypothetically, I have this one here that's maybe I don't have insurance for that second group. So that's good. We'll go next. So now you can sort of see they're building up. So we do have businesses that will go through the whole summer and kind of book a little bit of everything depending on what they want. I know, or I can imagine from a business or not-for-profit perspective, that might be really, really convenient. So this system is going to let you do that and manage all of your bookings that way. It'll also send you email reminders and things like that, depending on how you do your settings. So it can be really customizable and hopefully something easy for you to remember. Okay, so say these are the two that I want. I'm really happy with them. And I'm going to go to checkout. Actually, just maybe before so if anyone has questions about this process of kind of like booking them back and forth, please throw that in the chat and I can always go back if we need to. Okay, so we'll check out. That's going to take you to your payment page. So no one take down my credit card information, but as you can see, this is sort of your summary page. You're going to see your various dates, your various bookings. You can technically get a gift card to the city. So if someone's gifted you a city gift card, this is going to be a place where you can put it in. I don't know, perhaps that would be a nice thing to request if someone's looking for a gift. And so that's going to be your page. I would do place my order or continue shopping depending on. So once I've placed my order, I'm actually going to switch it to a different screen and show you what's going to happen and what's going to come up because it will be an agreement that you're going to need to sign before it actually processes your payment. So just give me 1 sec. I have to stop my share again. Go. So no big questions at this point. Makes me happy to know. All right, so what you'll get when you sort of hit the submission transaction button is it'll bring you to this page. If for some reason it doesn't bring you to the page and it just automatically the transaction is processed, we can resend this to you. So there have been instances where for whatever reason, it just doesn't doesn't connect, doesn't get through, you're doing it on your phone, whatever it might be, we can always resend this and have you do it again. So don't be alarmed if you're not seeing this right away. But for the most part, if you're doing, especially if you're doing it on a computer, it should direct you to this agreement page. So this facility agreement is kind of your last check of your rental. If there's anything amiss, we can definitely still change it at this time. So you'll read through, you will make sure it's got the right pop-ups, it's got the right times, it's got the right price. You'll see here there's a fee that says, you know, we must still provide the insurance. So that's on you. You're not going to be given your key and your lockbox code until you provide that proof of insurance. So I really want to reinforce that message. Okay, so then you keep going down. Then you're going to have all the conditions of use. And this is not going to be anything new to you if you've read all the information on the website, but it's essentially, you know, we expect you to have that insurance. We expect you to take care of the items as part of the pop-up and return them when you're done. The hours of use, again, we can negotiate that if you need to, depending on what you're using it for. So you can contact us if you need to change that. But as in terms of sort of the standard agreement, we do have as 10 to 7 hours. We do manage our booking with a lockbox. So once everything's confirmed, you're actually gonna get a code for the lockbox on your container. You'll go there, put in the code, you'll get the key. So it just explains how that lockbox situation works. You are able to come and go with that key and that lockbox for the length of your booking. So if you need to leave for some whatever reason, if you have multiple days, you can leave stuff in there, whatever it may be. You're kind of the keeper of that key, and that is something that this agreement stipulates. And then finally, because we don't own that land, we don't want vehicles on there. So we have had people try to unload their trucks or whatever it might be on the park itself. Please don't do that. Please park in the, you know, on the road or in the garage to unload and truck stuff over. We don't provide carts, but we do recommend them just to make things easier. So hopefully that makes sense. That also is outlined here in this agreement. So, you know, you've read the agreement, everything's good. You release the waiver of liability. You have your insurance, you totally understand. You will click to sign here. So it'll bring it up automatically, which is great. We'll say, just sign here, signing with my cursor. If you're doing it on a mobile app, it'll be your finger, it's good. So we'll do, if you need to do it again, you can. Here, I'll submit done. So that is now kind of in the agreement. And what you'll want to do is hit submit at the top. I'm just going to look here at the chat. Jessica, I'm going to come back to your question on insurance. I'll just wrap up here, and then we'll come back to that. Thank you for the question. Okay, so we hit submit at the top. Here we go. It's a little slow, I think, because I'm trying to do it in Zoom. Okay, we may need to use our imagination and this went through, but what it will do is send both this signed agreement to the administrator and yourself, and you'll get that through whichever email you use to register. So now you have a copy of that, and it'll all be saved within your profile, which is very handy for yourself, but also if there's ever an issue, you sort of have a digital copy of what you've signed. Okay, so that's that. If there's no questions specifically on the agreement or the process here, I think we can go. Oh, one thing here is if you needed to communicate something to Janice or to our facility maintenance people, say you need an extra table or something like that, this note box is going to be where you can put that. This is where they will see it and they will contact you to follow up if there's anything specific that you've asked for or any concerns you may have. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight there, it's the note box at the bottom of your agreement. Okay, perfect. So to jump back to Jessica's question about insurance, it says, is there any specific insurance company we suggest? So whichever insurance company you're using, I would say. I know that there is a seminar, and Shauna can correct me, I think there is one coming up about insurance. And so I think CBEC is, Cornwall Business Enterprise Center is going to help you navigate some of the decisions and what you are looking for in your providers. Shauna, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Here we go, unmute myself. Yes, there's all different kinds of commercial insurance that you can tap into. But in this case, if it's specifically for the pop-up shops, the city has really come up with a great alternative for people who don't have extensive business insurance. You can just tap into the insurance that the city already provides, and so the cost is a little bit different. So if you have insurance, it's $20. If you don't have insurance, it's $35. So the value is definitely there. You don't have to go through any hoops to partake in the program. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying, Jessica. That does make a lot of sense. So what I would, and just to jump on what Shauna said, I would suggest you take advantage of the city's offer of booking insurance or exhibitor insurance. So I can just come back here to my slides. I'm just going to jump back one page. Sorry, everyone, to make you go back, but I think it's just so valuable to bring this back as to why it's important. And then as we've gone through the booking, you know, it makes a little bit more sense. So there's two booking prices, or there's two booking options with this program. One is if you have insurance, so that's a $20, and that's because you're obviously already paying your insurance. There's a couple stipulations with that you have the $2 million liability, and that you list the city of Cornwall as additionally insured. So there's some details there, but there's also more online. So if you have more questions about that, or if your insurance is going to be sufficient, you can definitely contact staff. We're happy to help. But in, you know, the unique case that you're from Akwesasne, you don't have Ontario insurance, or you're small as a business, or you're a non-for-profit, or you're a small community group and you don't have insurance, which is totally fine. It's, you know, everyone's story is so different. We have made it so that this program makes you eligible for our third party. It's a facility rental insurance as a third party insurer, and so it's a really minor cost as part of your booking. It's an only additional $15, but it will cover you for the day, and then you walk away. Everyone's comfortable and confident that you're covered and insured. So hopefully that answers any concerns that you have there. But again, if you're not sure, our staff can help explain that further for you. Okay, so moving on, so we've kind of gone through everything, and I guess the last little thing here that I want to say is, so these are all the different steps that we've gone through. If you're still, oh, sorry, yeah, I will come back to this one. I love the questions coming in. Thank you, everyone. So you have a limit, so I'll just jump back here a little bit. And I tried to explain it, so hopefully this works. So we have a question here about the limit to booking. So what we're permitting you to do is book a maximum of 3 days at a time for one of our units. And then the next 3 days, you could book a different unit technically for 3 days. And then the next 3 days, you could book the third unit for 3 days. And you can't come back to the first unit until it's been 2 weeks since your first booking. So it's just so you could be there for 9 days straight, but then you'd have to be off for a few days before returning to the first unit. So hopefully that makes sense. You can do multiple weekends in a row if you want. You can do, you know, every, you know, Thursday, like 3 Thursdays of a month, something like that. That is going to be all possible as part of the combinations. And we really do want it to be sort of at your convenience and at your, you know, available when you're available. So we will be somewhat flexible with that, but it's just to limit someone from being in there for the entire summer and taking the opportunity away from others. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so items for resale. So sample clothing, that's an excellent question coming in. So it's, are these only for artisans, or is it okay if your items are for resale? We would prefer that it is for artisans. The thing with clothing or sample clothing, if it's brand name clothing, it would be in conflict with our agreement with the Square because they already have clothing retail stores as part of the Square. So it would depend on what you're selling. And in that case, may not be the conversation that we need to have publicly, but I would encourage you to contact Janice or myself and we can go through and see what you're selling exactly. But my instinct is telling me that we probably would not permit it because it would compete with the retail vendors in the Square, the existing clothing retail vendors in the Square. Hope that makes sense. So keep the questions coming in if that's helpful. I will just keep rolling here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay, perfect. Happy to help. So, yeah, we're basically at questions. So my contact information is here. You're welcome to contact myself if you're, planning something or you're not quite sure. Janice is the second contact here. She's the staff that actually coordinates the booking itself. So if you have questions about the insurance, something in your pop-up is missing, Janice is going to be your frontline help and support. She's the person that you're going to get your confirmation insurance emails from and any follow-up that might happen in advance of your booking. Both our emails and telephone numbers are there. So we are happy to help and answer any questions as they come in. Okay, let's take a few more questions here. Is there a limit per person or per organization? So I think this is saying if you wanted to book all 3 pop-ups in one day, that would be permitted. I would just want to sort of caution your own sanity though, like that you would have sufficient support to manage all 3, but you would definitely be permitted to do that. But then I would say you would, depending on how many you're booking, you would need to wait a few more, you would need to wait the 2-week period before you could rebook them. Okay. Hopefully that
Is
makes
it okay
sense.
if I talk?
Oh yeah, sorry,
Okay.
of course, come online.
Well, I had some guys playing video games back here, so I didn't want to disturb. I wanted to know if, like, say I want to rent 3 days for my business, but I also run a nonprofit organization. So I want to know if I can rent, say, 3 days for my business, but then 3 days for my nonprofit. Does it
At the same time, like the same 3 days, or like 3
no,
days?
but does it contradict the limitation? Like if I can only book one booth, one pop-up once every 2 weeks. So if I say alternate, one weekend I want to do, I don't want to name anything. So one week it's my business and the next week it's my nonprofit. That would be okay. It wouldn't be okay.
Yeah, that would be fine. So, and I think I almost want to say it's a unique situation, yet that's not, because we all of us wear so many hats. So no, I think what it's, it's more of it's a stipulation, but it's also kind of a guideline. Like we're very understanding that, you have multiple hats and you might be wanting to promote an exhibit for different reasons. So what I would say is that we don't want to see the same business or exhibitor in there in the whole pop-up, for more than 9 days in a 2-week period. That would exceed our exhibitor limit. So if you're rotating out with a business and a non-for-profit, you're not going to exceed that limit. Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing a question here about books. So if I sold books, it would be a conflict, but I did it with a signing author, that would be okay. Or gathering potential clients for publishing, but not selling my published books. Okay, so I think that this, thank you so much for the question. And I think your business, I know a little bit more about it. Yes, technically you would be in conflict with the Cole Indigo books, Coles. However, my question would be, are the books that you're selling in that store? Because if they're not, then there isn't a direct competition because the product is a custom, unique product. So you're not going to have the kind of the conflict of sales, especially not if you're bringing the author and you're doing signings or a book reading or anything like that. I think you're talking about really a very unique product, and you should definitely consider taking advantage of the pop-up program. there's any other questions, you're welcome to just jump on as well instead of putting them in the chat. You're very welcome. Okay, I think that's might be there.
Well, thank you, Kat, very much for your presentation today. I'm sure many people will find it useful. And I know I'm looking forward to seeing some businesses in the pop-up shops throughout the summer. If you have any questions, if something comes to you after today's presentation and you want to bounce an idea off or you just need some clarification, please feel free to contact Kat or Janice or myself, and we'll be happy to help you out, point you in the right direction.
Yes, for sure. Maybe I should note something that's not on these slides is that the pop-ups are going to be available until October 16th. So it's a really long season. So if you maybe don't have product right now to sell, or it's not a good time for you because the kids are still in school, whatever it might be, whatever personal reason, do look further into the calendar year and maybe plan in advance for that. We would love to book you in, months in advance, then we're all on the same page. And then you also have some goals to aim for. And so I do know that that's sometimes a strategy that people like to go for is, kind of puts a deadline to some of their production, in their product. So I know we're starting early, we're in May, but really it is to go the whole season and into the fall. So, this is the time to be creative and how you might use these little pop-up shops. One thing I want to say, and I think a lot of people may already know, but Art Walk does use the pop-ups as part of their event. So I would love to encourage more groups to use the pop-ups in this creative way, if it makes sense. I would say we don't see as many non-for-profits as I imagined we would, but it is arguably a really affordable rate for a non-for-profit to come in and promote, maybe recruit volunteers, or for groups like a dance company, we've had the different dance groups do their fall registration at the pop-up. It was outdoors, it was more comfortable, things like that. So I know we typically think of doing retail in these pop-ups, but there's really a lot of opportunity to use them for whatever the community is looking for. I can tell you myself, as many of you saw earlier, the Transition Cornwall plant giveaway will be happening out of the pop-ups. So, really that's a non-for-profit community event, but the pop-ups are just such a perfect opportunity to be in the downtown and connect with people moving through the downtown. And we would love to see that really benefit our community in lots of different ways. So you're very welcome. I know there's always questions that come after, so that's great. And we're here for you. We'd love to see these bustling throughout the summer. And I know I have one more slide here for Shauna, who may want to talk a little bit more about some upcoming seminars through CBEC to sort of help all of our small businesses.
Oh, thanks, Kat. Yes, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Cornwall Business Enterprise Spring Seminar Series, they are open to any small business owner, no matter your size. They are free of charge, and you just have to log on. The majority of them are during lunch hour. Our next session is actually tomorrow, and it's talking about business models, so sole proprietorship, incorporation, partnership, as well as a small bit on commercial real estate as a whole. So then that's going to be presented by a local lawyer. His name is Andrew Gaindel, and he specializes in business law. So it should be really interesting and a really great opportunity to ask some important questions to a lawyer.
With no cost.
yeah, it's free. Yeah, and he's a really great person.
PMJ is so bad because they say if it gets really bad, then you'll get vertigo from it.
Pardon?
What happened?
Sorry, missed the first part of your question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize the thing was I was talking to my son.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes more sense.
That's hilarious. No, I'm sorry. I was talking to him while you were talking on the thing, and I apologize.
And that's okay.
Yeah, no worries. No, that makes a lot more sense now that you We understand.
World of Zoom. Shauna, there's one final question here that I'm seeing come in, which is, should it be a registered business? So I'm assuming that this is just with regards to booking a pop-up and not the seminar you're talking about, although perhaps they should come together and sort of answer, as in terms of registering your business regardless. But I do just want to say that we don't require you to be a registered business for the pop-up. You can be an individual person, but we do expect you to sort of manage yourselves accordingly within business or legislation. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Can be a community group and all of that, but I would say in that case, we would expect you to use the booking option that provides you insurance under the city, just so that we have some confidence that you are covered with our insurance policy.
And just to go with what Kath said as well, you do not need to be a registered business to attend any of the seminars. That being said, if you are in business and you haven't registered yet and you have some questions about it, then we can maybe have a conversation and talk a little bit more and help you understand what the importance is.
So great. Tie in so well together. Well, this was lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me, Shauna. I really appreciate it. I hope we've answered everyone's questions, and we'll post all this information so people can touch back if they need to. If not, we're here to continue to answer those questions.
Perfect. Looking forward to seeing everybody in the pop-ups.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye. Enjoy your afternoon.